Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Grow Live 3-day event. I'm so glad you are here with me live. We have a couple thousand of you watching live as we speak, and I am so glad to see you here checking in from literally all over the world. I'm so excited to just see how many people are committed to truly growing in 2024. I will tell you, these 3-day events, this is my, I think, fourth one that we do after Christmas, and it is my favorite event of the year. It's the highlight of the year for me. And this is just really exciting when we get to kind of look ahead at the new year. And I feel like this is the perfect week. We're kind of catching you in between, reflecting on, the year behind you and casting vision into the new year. So I am looking forward to all that I'm going to be bringing to you over the next 3 days. So just to kind of go over a couple things so that you can get the most out of this event, because I truly want you to soak up as much value as possible in our time together. So just a couple reminders. You have your Grow 2024 workbook that is in the files section of the Facebook group. So just take your notes while I'm talking today, and then afterwards there's kind of these reflection questions that you can go over, and this really helps you retain the information. And there is an action item at the end of each day on your workbook, and the goal is I really want to condition you to be somebody who takes action immediately after a training. I know in this industry we can get caught up in going from training to training and thing to thing, and it's fun and it's exciting, but I want you to commit with me right now, because we're committing to growth, that you are going to be an action taker from this point onward. So that means committing to each action step I give you and being as involved as possible. It's 3 days. I plan on giving you a ton of value that truly helps you grow your business and propel it forward. If you are here as an individual, I am so thrilled for you and that you are choosing growth for yourself. If you're here with a team, if you're here with friends, be sure that you guys are checking in with each other, making sure you all are checking in live, hold each other accountable. It does make a difference. There's also going to be a special offer at the end of the training. I'm going to announce it on day 3 with a special Q&A on day 4. You are going to want to stick around for that. It's pretty exciting. I've been kind of leaving some teasers here and there. If you are new to me, if you don't already follow me over on Instagram, you can follow me at The Kristen Boss. I also have a YouTube channel. We've done this really helpful thing. My team is just so great. They created a resource guide, a free resource guide of our top 5 downloaded podcasts and our top 5 YouTube videos that you can just watch for added resources to give you more value. You could check those out. You can also subscribe to my podcast, the Kristen Boss Podcast. We just hit 3 million downloads. I'm so excited. There's lots of fun value for you there. Just a reminder that the replays, they're going to be in the featured section of this group. So when your friends come and join today, because we literally have people buying tickets even now as we speak, we're approving people into the group as we speak, but replays come down midnight on the 1st, no exceptions. Also, I know a lot of you are gonna be watching this and think, dang it, I gotta get the rest of my team here. So registration closes to buy tickets tonight. We do this so that people have plenty of time to watch the replays, get caught up. We don't want people binging this content. This is content I really want you to be able to take in and implement and go. So, just a little bit about me. If you're like, who is Kristen Boss and why should I even listen to you? Just going to give you a little bit of backstory for me. I have the Social Selling Academy and the Social Selling Leadership School. These are my 2 flagship programs that help network marketers on the front side of their business, which is sales, marketing, growing their audience, how to recruit, bring in customers, and grow their business. And then I have a new program that we launched earlier this year called the Social Selling Leadership School. By the way, if you're one of my students in either of the programs, just shout yourself out in the comments so I can say, hey, and especially if you're a leadership school founder. We had over 1,000 people join Leadership School, or just under 1,000 join our brand new program, Leadership School. And that is specifically for people to learn leadership and coaching skills to help help their team get results. It's all leadership. So also, I have coached and trained over 40,000 social sellers. I have keynote taught on over a dozen different company stages, and I have the Top Marketing Podcast with now 3 million downloads. And between my two programs, we have over 7,000 students. So I'm so proud of my community, of the people I get to serve, of this industry. I love the network marketing industry. Anybody who asks me like, how much do you love it? I'm like, listen, I specialize in it. I don't want to coach any other industry. I'm brought in to consult other industries, and network marketing is where I'll always hang my hat, because I believe it is the most approachable business model for people to diversify and add to their income streams for anybody. I believe that network marketing is kind of the gateway to entrepreneurship. I can't tell you how many rooms I've been in with multimillionaires and billionaires. People have gone on to do huge things in the world, and a lot of them got their start in this business model. I believe network marketing is the ultimate training ground. It's entrepreneurship 101, and I plan on giving you skills to truly help you grow in your online business in 2024. So if that's you, if you're like, yes, I'm here to grow, let's go. So today, we're going to talk about goal mastery. There's a lot of goal language. A lot of people love talking about, hey, what's your goal for 2024? I'm an Enneagram 3. I live and die by goals. I don't even know what my life would look like without goals. I love them. And goals is really a compass that informs your present day actions in order to create the future you want. And so I notice, and I've coached, again, tens of thousands of people, I've noticed trends when it comes to goal setting. And we have to look at, okay, you had a goal in 2023, and maybe you met some of them, maybe you didn't meet others. And I noticed that people tend to have a lot of conflicting feelings around goals. Some people are like, I don't set goals, I set intentions, I have resolutions, we have all these things. But I've noticed is like, why doesn't everybody accomplish goals that they set out for themselves? And we have our ideas and our theories as to why that is, but I'm gonna really break down why people don't live up to their goals, how to actually create a goal that you're guaranteed to hit, and how to earn trust with yourself. And maybe you're somebody that has maybe lost trust with your ability to set a goal and meet a goal and stick to the goal no matter what. So I noticed that goal setting can sometimes be a challenging thing. So I really want to help you come up with an aligned goal that you are guaranteed to hit in 2024. How many of you want a guaranteed goal? Yes? Yeah? All right, cool. So real quick, research shows that 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by the beginning of February. If you want physical evidence of that, go to the gym on January 1 and then go to the gym on February 15th. You will see the gym clear out. It is because a lot of people start with intentions, because New Year's resolutions usually are just like wishes, like and very vague, like I want to be healthier, I want to make more money, I want to be happier. It's like, okay, but how are you going to do that? New Year's resolutions seldom have actionable steps. Here's some fun facts about goals. 83% of the world's population does not have goals. I guess that makes sense because, some people might be like, you know what? I just want food and shelter and water. Most people are surviving. And goals sometimes is like, goals doesn't really feel like, it seems like a luxury. It's like, I'm just trying to survive. Okay. 14% have a goal in their head, but they're not written down. Okay. And only 3% have written goals. Only 3% of people have written goals. And there's actually statistics about people who write their goals down are 10 times more likely to reach their goals than someone who doesn't write their goal down. Okay, and 92% of people who set New Year's resolutions never achieve them, which means, this is findings from Harvard Business School study, that, listen, without a strategy, chances of success are reduced considerably, meaning that goals typically have a 92% fail rate, okay? Now, taking that into account, a 92% fail rate, which means unless we learn to go about our goals differently, you have a 92% chance of not reaching the goal you set out for your business this year. And my goal is for us to diminish that percentage way down, and I'd like to flip it on its head. I'd like to see a 92% success rate with an 8% fail rate. But we have to understand why. Why are 92% of people bound to fail with their goals? I saw this graph again. This is an American graph, but achieve New Year's resolutions about 9%, 8 to 9%. But there is, and look at that. Look at the drop-off rate by the end of January. Look at the drop-off rate by the end of the week. You know why? Because life happens, because things come up. Here's the thing. Intentions do not equal outcomes. And I think sometimes we think that. We're like, okay, I'm going to have more customers this year. I'm going to grow my team. I'm going to get on stage. I'm going to hit that incentive trip. Do you know what those are? Those are intentions. But that just having the intention is not going to create the outcome for you. I love this quote by Grant Cardone. Luck is just one of the byproducts of those who take the most action. Intentions to me is like wishing for it, hoping for it, wishing on a star, right? It's like, but listen, it's never about luck. It's always about people who are willing to take the most action. You must be an action taker. You're going to hear me like beat this over your head over the next 3 days. And you know this, deep down we know what creates results is taking action. But why aren't we taking the action? Here's the thing is after coaching tens of thousands of people, most people, if I say, what do you need to do to have success in this business? Most people can tell me. They're like, well, I need to network. I need to talk to people. I need to sell people my product. I need to market. I need to get out there. Okay, so why aren't you? If we know what the actions are, why aren't we taking them? We're going to unpack that. But this is more of the intentions I'm talking about. These are the intentions I see so often that people say, I'm going to be more consistent. I'm going to take my business seriously. I'm going to double my paycheck. I'm going to go all in on my social media this year. I'm not going to play small this year. I'm going to earn the incentive trip this year. Do you know what this is? This is just talk. This is just talk, but we think these are grand accolades that if we shout them into the universe, that it's going to come back and happen without our active participation and showing up as the person who guarantees these outcomes. Here's the thing I see. I see way too many people in this business wasting their time solving for the wrong thing in their business. What do I mean by that? So a lot of people will say, if I say, why don't you think you have the paycheck in your business or you're making the money, not making the money you want to be making in this business model? Because listen, friends, there are a lot of people that are walking around with stories like, oh, it was much harder this year. People aren't buying. The economy's down. But I will tell you that is not the case for the students in my programs that were taking action. They were having their highest sales volume months. They were growing their teams, even while everyone else over here was saying like, it's not possible, but they were taking action, right? So here's the thing. Why is my paycheck not growing? People will hand me this. I'm not consistent enough. And this is how they solve for it. So they time block, they schedule, they do planners, they go to fix the consistency. They're like, okay, I just got to set aside the time. I'm going to get this calendar. I'm going to get this planner. I'm going to make this little tracker. I'm going to go and do this, and I'm going to wake up earlier, right? So that's how they solve for it. Let's do the next one. I'm not motivated. If I ask people, why aren't you showing up? They say, well, I need to get motivated. So many people, how many of you signed up for this event to get motivated? Show of hands, how many of you were like, oh, I came here to get motivated? Okay, yeah, this event, while it might motivate you short term, it's not going to sustain you long term unless you make active changes. But I'm not motivated, so how do they solve for that? They go and download a podcast. They read books. They make vision boards. They go on I call it the motivation hunt. Like, I'm going to go just hype myself up for some motivation, right? Let's evaluate the next problem that they think they have. I just don't have the right strategy. I'm lacking the how. Well, how do they solve for that when they think I don't have the right strategy? They end up going on a search for the strategy. They download the free guides. They go on YouTube. They go to ChatGPT. They go on this massive strategy hunt, and they're like, well, what's that person saying about that? And what's that network marketing trainer saying about that? And what's that one saying about that? And then sometimes they're getting conflicting information, and now they are in information overload. Now they have so much information, they have no idea how to pick it apart and put it together in a way that has them taking action, right? And so this is what they're doing. So when people have the problems, this is what they end up doing. You ready? They're searching for the right strategy. They're downloading the guides. They're doing the YouTube, the ChatGPT. They're downloading the free templates. They're listening to the podcast, reading the books, journaling, creating vision boards, affirmations, watching free trainings, watching motivational talks, buying planners, time blocking, cleaning their office. How many of you are like, dang, that's me? What is the byproduct of this? Here's the thing. This person is busy. They're on their laptop, they're getting up early, they're on their phone. But here's the thing, this lends to confusion, frustration, and overwhelm. This has them saying, I'm doing all the things. I'm working so hard, but I'm not seeing the results. This person feels like they're working. And in a lot of ways, I would say, you are, but really you're just busy and you're not getting the results that you deserve for this time. Right? And so this is where I see a lot of people. They're like, I'm putting so much time into my business, but I'm not getting anything out of it. I said, because you're putting all your time into the wrong things. Now, is there anything wrong with these things inherently? No, there's still value in podcasts. Sure, there's still value in books and journaling. But if it's replacing these things, and look, this is why 90% of online business owners will quit in 1 year or less. Because of this right here. How many of you have been like, this has been me? No wonder I'm not seeing my business explode in the way I want it to. No wonder I'm exhausted. No wonder I feel like I'm working all the time, right? So this is what they need to be doing. So we have the list of what they're currently doing, but this is what they need to be doing instead. Creating content. Making reels to educate and empower and entertain their audience, connect with new people, engage with followers, following up with customers, talking about their business, going live on social media, building new connections, starting an email list, nurturing their audience, working in business hours, doing income producing activities first, evaluating their data, connecting with their team, and sending samples. This is what makes you money. This is what actually drives your business forward. Notice that one list was red, one is green. Green equals the money. But here's what I've noticed. People that stay in this action, even if it's messy, even if it's frustrating, even if they feel like they're not doing it right. Here's the thing. The person who's taking messy action is still getting more results than the person who's pursuing perfection through information overwhelm. Every single time. Okay? And I have noticed the person that does this, they have improved mood, improved self-confidence, they're more productive, they're committed, they have higher levels of belief, and their income inevitably increases. Their income increases. So here's the problem. When I say people are solving for the wrong things, this is what I mean. I like to use this as an iceberg analogy. So what we have above the waterline, or what we see, is what we say, is the reasons we give for why we're not getting results. So I don't know how to do social media. I don't have anyone to talk to. I won't hear that from anybody. They're like, I don't have anyone to talk to. I'm like, there's a billion people on social media. There are people to talk to. You just have to know how to talk to people and where to talk to them. And that's what I teach in my programs, right? I don't have time. The economy is down. I need to be consistent. I'm too busy. I don't know what to do. These are the surface level. And again, that's where I was saying, that's where they solve with like buying the planners, the podcasts, the affirmations, the journaling, and doing all the things that actually don't make them money. Okay. But here's what's actually underneath the surface. If we were to like really get below that, it's things like, the real reason is I don't want people to see me fail. I don't want to work at trying something new. I don't want people to think I'm spammy. I don't want to look dumb on social media. I don't want people to judge me. I don't have anything of value to offer. I'm not sure if I have what it takes to be successful. I don't want people to see me as desperate or clingy. These are, so up at the top, what we're doing is solving for excuses. That's what they are, excuses. So we're busy trying to fix our excuses and going about it all the wrong way. Right? And so when we're solving for excuses, that's where we have the free downloads, the time blocking, the new planners, the free trainings, the books, the podcasts, the journaling, waiting for a less busy season. How many of you have been guilty of pulling back from your business and telling yourself, I'll get back to this once I get into a less busy season? The people who are most successful, and listen, the reason why I called this event Grow is because I specifically only want to talk to people who are interested in growing, not people that are staying stagnant, that are maintaining or slowing down. I'm talking to people that are like, I'm really ready to opt in for growth and do what it takes to grow. And so with this solving for excuses and those things, I've noticed that people get lost trying to fix the wrong things. And people that are willing to grow are willing to learn to work this business knowing that life is always busy. The most successful people learn to work this business regardless of how busy life is, because they know life is always busy. Life is always happening. You know, it's kind of like for me, I have kids who are 6 and 7, gonna be 6 and 8. And I remember thinking when they were babies, oh, when they get older, I'm gonna have so much time. I have less time. It's amazing. And I know as they get older, it's gonna be true in that regard too, right? So above, we're solving for excuses. But here's the thing. Below the waterline is when we're actually solving the root cause of why we're not showing up. When we're not showing up, when we're not doing the income producing activities, it's always a belief that is stopping us. It's a story we have about ourselves, about others, about social media that we choose to believe. And we give that story a stronghold over us. It has a death grip over us. And we'd like to say, and I know in this business, you probably hear a lot about mindset, but there's a reason why as a coach, a lot of what I teach is actually based on psychology and neuroscience, because goals has a lot more to do with psychology. If you want to change your habits, it's a neuroscience thing. I would actually encourage you to read the book Atomic Habits if you haven't read that yet, right? And so when we're solving for the root cause, when we actually address the belief or the story that's keeping you stuck, we're able to get ourselves back into action. And when we solve for the root cause, then we're able to do the daily work. We're addressing the story. We're investing in our skills. We're getting accountability. We're implementing and we're executing. We're eliminating distractions, and our activity becomes non-negotiable. I see too many people that misuse the flexibility of this business model. They came in for flexibility, but they end up using that against themselves and use it as negotiability. Like then they negotiate with like, nah, I don't have to show up today. You're right, you don't have to show up today. But your future self, they're counting on you to show up today when it feels like it doesn't matter, right? And so here's the reason. The primary reason people don't get the results they want in their business is from lack of implementation, period, full stop. Full stop. There are so many times I've been on calls over and over with students where they will sit there and they will know exactly what needs to be done. They will have the playlist. They will know, they can have the script. They can have the how, right? They can have the how, but they're not implementing. Why is that? We're going to talk about that. There's 2 different cycles of implementation that I want to keep you aware of, and I see so many people in this cycle. I call it the good intentions cycle, and some of you are going to be like, "Oh dang, it's me." Okay? Step 1, they attend the training like you are here right now. They get excited. I'm going to do things differently, right? And then they make promises. All right, I'm going to get up earlier. I'm going to set the time. I'm going to talk to my family. I'm turning this into a business. I'm going to go serious, right? They make the promises. And then I see a flurry of activity where they go everywhere. Their hair's on fire because you can't stop them. They're coming out of the gate hot and they go, 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 go until life happens or there is a major setback or obstacle. Almost always, because there's always a setback, you can set your watch to it that there's going to be a setback within your first 14 days of pursuing a goal. And then with that setback, they lose excitement. And when they lose excitement, they lose their steam. And because they lose their excitement, they stop or they slow their activity. And then they beat themselves up and they're like, oh, here I am again. Why do I do this? The kids got sick and I was just so overwhelmed and I just needed some me time. And you know what? And it's just so hard right now and I just don't have time and it's frustrating. My husband needs me and my house is a mess and beat myself up and bum, 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 right? And then they're like, all right, now they start telling themselves, oh, God, I got to start over. Back to square one. And let me ask you, how good does it feel when you tell yourself you have to start over? Does that have you feeling excited or does it have you feeling like a hot piece of garbage where you're like, I don't want to start over? That doesn't feel good. And then they make new promises and then they go back to the top. They're like, well, since I need to start over, I'm going to go to a training. I'm going to do a download. I'm going to go do these things. And they stay here in the good intention cycle and they wonder why their income never increases. Right? So now I want to show you the opposite of that. And this is the implementation cycle. And this is the only way you make money, friends. You want to know like, okay, how do I make money? How do I get on stage? How do I actually create sustainable income for my family? How do I have a reliable paycheck? How do I actually make this business model work for me? The business model works, but not unless you work. Period. I am not sugarcoating it. Like I am only talking to the people who are like, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to treat this like a job because there's nothing wrong with a job. But it's pretty great to have a job that we love where we feel like we're making an impact, okay? So the implementation cycle, they watch the training, create a plan, eliminate distractions, and then they execute needle moving actions only. They know their income producing activity and they stay there. Like this is where we're going. And then based on their activity, they do an evaluation. What do I need to do more of? Like what worked so I can double down on it? What do I need to do less of? Ooh, that didn't work. Maybe I'll change that or switch it up. Or what do I need to get rid of? That didn't work at all. I'll eliminate that. And then from that evaluation, they refine and adjust their plan. Okay, here's what I'm going to do different. Here's how I'm going to go about this. And then with that new plan, they execute. Notice how we're taking action, we're learning our lessons, we're applying from the lesson, and then here we keep going. They execute the plan. They repeat steps 4 through 7 until the goal is attained. And then they set a new goal. And then they repeat from the top. I want you to know, if people are like, Kristen, how have you built a company that's done, how do you have multiple, 2 multi-million-dollar companies? This is the implementation cycle. My team lives and breathes this. My team knows this. Everyone on my team, they do this. Our marketing team, our customer service team, our email, our operations team, everybody. If this doesn't become your life, don't expect your income to magically increase, right? So that is the implementation cycle. I think it's important you know this. Implementation is about making progress, not getting it right or doing it perfectly. Let me read that again. Implementation is about making progress, not getting it right or doing it perfectly. But so many people get caught up in, I need to do the research so that I know I can get it right the first time. You're not going to get it right the first time. Have you ever tried something new and got it right the first time? It's incredibly rare, right? We actually have to have a different conversation on what it means to be consistent, because implementation is valuable only when we implement consistently. But some of you implement sometimes, implement rarely, implement when you feel like it, okay? So we have to redefine what it means consistent. And this is what people think consistency is. Look at that. Tick, tick, ticking every box. Perfect, perfect, perfect. But I love this analogy, what consistency actually is, right? It's like I'm still learning to show up because life happens, but I'm going to pick up the pen and I'm going to keep going. But here's the problem I see, especially in the world of online business, is we place way too much value on intensity and not enough value on consistency. I see so many people come out of the gates with the intensity because we have those big promises, because we're feeling motivation. If someone is coming out of the gate with intensity, I can't help but think that they're running on motivation, and I'm always looking at like, okay, I can time when I know they're gonna burn out, right? It's like it's the tale of the tortoise and the hare. If you haven't read my book, Pivot to Purpose, I talk about this in the book, about consistency is about really sustainability. Can you sustain your pace, right? This is why people burn out or quit or go in and out of their business, because the intensity burns them out. And I find that intensity is often fueled by scarcity or lack. It's like, I have to get out of this as quickly as possible because I'm so uncomfortable. Now, there is a time where I think desperation, like being in a place where you're so hungry and you're desperate for change, can lend to us doing extraordinary things in our life. It can get us started, but it can't keep us going, right? And I read this quote just the other day that said, what got you out of Egypt isn't going to be the same thing that gets you into the promised land, right? It's just like, okay, it got you here, but what's going to take you to the next place, right? I love this. I love these graphics of intensity versus consistency. And some of you will notice this, like there's multiple ways of looking at this. There's like coming out strong and then it fizzles. Or, you know, I love the little fire emojis of like really big and then it starts to fizzle out with time, where it's like, can you learn to sustain the same thing over long periods of time, right? I love this graph by James Clear. And it's so good. This quote, if you can remember it, intensity makes a good story, but consistency is what truly makes progress. This is true for me. This is true of my most successful students I have coached. It's not the ones that are constantly in these intense cycles. Oftentimes when people start working with me, they're learning to get out of intensity and actually learn what it looks like to work consistently in their business. And here's the thing, when you become someone who is consistent, your goals become inevitable. That is why we're talking about this in relation to goals, okay? We're gonna unpack implementation even more. There's 4 keys to implementation, okay? And implementation is inevitably what increases your income, okay? First one is you have to create margin, meaning you have to actually create the space to make it happen. You have to actually sit down and write the plan out. You have to think, you have to be strategic. But too many people just like are flying by the seat of their pants, right? So create margin, create the plan. You need to have accountability. Do you know that having accountability increases your likelihood of success by more than 68%? What? It's a pretty big deal, right? And then you need to have skin in the game. It has to cost you something. That's why this event wasn't free. It's $9. I could have charged way more, but I knew like, I don't want anybody kind of getting choked up on the cost to help them get some information that I knew that they needed in order to grow, right? But you got to have skin in the game. You know why? Because if you quit, there's no pain in quitting. It's like, meh. Like I know for some of you, $9, if you don't implement from this training, you'll be like, meh, it was only $9. You're not going to cry over $9. You might cry over 1,000, you might cry over 500 because there's skin in the game. We show up different when it costs us something. And oftentimes the future we want is so far away, and because we don't have it, because we're not holding it in our hand, the pain of not showing up for ourselves, we can't feel it because we don't have the future yet. If anything, we think we're delaying it. Being like, it's okay, what's one more day of delay? I've already lived my life without that dream. But I think when there's actually cost on the line, we show up different. I want to give you an example of this. I've been working on my health all year, and last year I worked with a friend who's a trainer, and she didn't charge me because she's a friend. She's like, no, it's for free, I'll train you. She gave me my macros, my fitness plan, all the things. How do you think I showed up? knowing it cost me nothing to get on a call with her, nothing to go to the, like, there wasn't pain when I didn't do my workout. There wasn't pain when I didn't report into her. And then suddenly, then I decided, all right, I think there's got to be pain for me because I keep negotiating with myself because I'm not showing up. I'm not taking this seriously. So I end up spending like a lot of money on this elite trainer. And now, and it's funny, he gave me the same action steps, but guess what was different? Me. Because there was skin in the game. Because there was pain. I was like, oh, I did not pay that money to not show up and do this for myself. It was painful. And guess what? I got massive results. Massive results. Why? Because I had skin in the game. Because it actually cost me something, right? So that's the 4 keys to implementation. Now, we're going to talk about the 5 biggest mistakes that people make with goals, because we're talking about implementation. We're talking about setting a goal. You're going to be doing your workbook after this, just evaluating, asking yourself some good questions. And you're going to be setting a goal at the end of this challenge, because at the end of the workbook here, let me just grab the last page. You're actually going to be writing down your goal to accomplish before April 1st, 2024. And if you don't write, I don't want you to be guilty of these 5 mistakes. In the workbook, it says 4 mistakes, but there's actually 5. I don't want you to be guilty of making one of these 5 mistakes when you write down your goal. Okay? So, mistake number 1 is linear optimism. Okay? Linear optimism is when we think that our progress is linear. I put in X amount of effort, therefore I get X amount of return. This is also from Atomic Habits. I reference this chart all the time in my business. I've been referencing this ever since this book came out. Okay, so the green line represents our expectations. This is how we expect our income to grow. This is how we expect like our followers to grow, everything. It doesn't matter if you're doing podcast downloads, selling a product, e-commerce. This is how we think weight loss should look, but instead it's like on the down linear, right? And that's our expectations. And then the red line that's reality. And I want you to notice, like, look at the time graph. Look at how slow the progress is at the beginning. And look at where the expectation is. Look at the gap between the expectations and where reality is. And that gap, that dissonance, is called the valley of disappointment. And I put a little X on the timeline where most people quit. And then they go back to the beginning. And some people, oh my goodness, this is where I see so many people in online business. They get to that point where they quit and they're like, I got to start over. And now they have to rebuild momentum. And then they get to the same point and then they quit. And then they're like, I got to start over. And this is as far as they ever get, and it stays in this awful cycle, right? The valley of disappointment is when I hear things like, or you will say things like, I thought I would be further along. I didn't think it would be this hard. I thought it would be easier. My favorite, this isn't working. I'm gonna slap some of you. Some of you say that way too soon, right? You don't allow for things to compound and hit the tipping point. We're gonna talk about that. Maybe I'm not cut out for this, right? I love this other saying by Grant Cardone. People optimistically overestimate how well things will go, and then underestimate how much energy and effort it will take to push things through. We optimistically overestimate how well things will go, especially when we're saying what our goals are, and we underestimate the time, the effort, and the energy. Okay? Mistake number 2 is emotion-led. Now, everything we do in life is actually led by emotion. Absolutely everything. Because I would say, why are you watching Netflix instead of working your business? And it's likely an emotion that caused you to choose to sit down and watch Netflix instead of work your business. So the emotion might have been defeat, apathy, frustration, annoyance, whatever it is. Right? Because if you had the emotion of like commitment and determination, you wouldn't have done Netflix, you would have gone and worked your business. Right? So everything is emotion-led. But when someone is emotion-led with their goals, the productivity matches how they are emotionally feeling on any given day. Okay? meaning on days when you feel motivated and excited, higher levels of productivity, hair on fire, right? Feeling unmotivated and frustrated, zero productivity. Your productivity matches your emotional state, right? So I love this graph. This is inconsistent output that lends to inconsistent results. If you have inconsistent results, you have to look at your output and be like, "Ooh, has my output been consistent? Maybe not," right? Do you expect a bag of fully popped popcorn if you opened up the door every 15, 30 seconds and you're like, "Is it done yet? Is it done yet?" Right? It's just like, or you pull the bag out at 45 seconds being like, "Why do I not have a bag of popcorn and I have just a bag of kernels?" Right? And so I have this kind of like this graph up and down, like there's a motivation level of output and then the no motivation level of output. And then it's like when things are good, things are good. When things are bad, right? So there's the graphs, right? This is consistent output. Notice that green line is like I'm working even if on days I feel like hot garbage. I'm working on days when I feel like I have been kicked. I'm working on days when I would rather be doing anything other than working my business. Man, it's so funny. I've conditioned myself over years to be somebody that just, I work my business. It's just what I do. But I will tell you, in my health journey this year, I had to get reacquainted with the feeling of doing things I didn't feel like doing every time I went to the gym. Do you know how often I was motivated to actually go, knowing I was going to be sore and in pain and lifting weights and all those things? Like, I was rarely motivated. I was like, I would rather be doing anything else. You know, or I walk 15,000 steps a day. There were days where I'm like, I would rather be doing anything else. But I'm like, okay, how can I make the process of this enjoyable? But here's the thing, friends, when it comes to your output, consistent output is absolutely key to compounding your results. If you don't have consistent output, don't expect a bag of popcorn. Don't expect a bag of money. Don't expect it. But so many people are like, why not? Right? And so just to sum up what we've discovered, what we've done so far is linear optimism and emotion-led, okay? I'm also going to give you this too. Maybe I missed one. Hold on, I might go back. Okay, yeah, linear optimism and emotion-led. I love this analogy. If you haven't heard of something called the Sisyphus effect, a lot of us are familiar with the snowball effect. Everyone wants the snowball effect, right? That's where things feel easy, it's fast, it's fun, that's where momentum is, but nobody likes the Sisyphus effect. And the Sisyphus effect is from a Greek story where Sisyphus was punished by a Greek god, and he was forced to roll a massive stone up a hill for all of eternity. And once he reached the top, the stone would roll back. And so the Sisyphus effect is what feels mundane, hard, thankless, and meaningless. Because for him, it's like, why am I rolling this up the hill? This is completely pointless. Oftentimes, most people will not work through this effect because it feels like absolute mundane drudgery. I never said income-producing activities would be full of fun every day. It's actually hard. It's going to feel mundane and meaningless. Notice how it's mundane and meaningless before the tipping point or the compound effect, where suddenly momentum tips in your favor and all of the energy you have been using to push up the hill catapults you into the momentum. But most social sellers, most online business owners, they stay stuck. They never get through the Sisyphus effect to the tipping point. They never get through that mundane drudgery hard. They just complain the whole way, and then the ball falls to the bottom, and they're like, I got to start over. But you have got to get to the tipping point in order to get to the snowball effect. Okay? Mistake number 3, idealistic strategy. What does that mean? Oh, we all are guilty of this, right? Can only work in ideal conditions. Your goals only can thrive when you are in perfect conditions, when no one is sick, when there's no crisis, when no one's traveling, when there's no competitive sports or your job isn't competing for your time, when there's when you're in an ideal work setting, when the kids are napping and things are going well, like that's the only way it works for you. Versus real life, which becomes unsustainable the moment there are interruptions or real life happens. It's interesting. The same thing happens. I was talking with my health coach about this, and he says a lot of people, when they want to get in shape, they only can do it under ideal conditions, when they're never eating out, when they're never traveling, when there's no birthdays, when there's no holidays. He's like, the most successful people will learn to keep these habits with birthdays, with travel, with business, with all those things. And I'm so thankful that I have actually learned to do that. And he's like, that's why you're going to work with me for a year, because we're going to work through the holidays. We're going to work through birthdays. We're going to work through travel. We're going to work through all seasons. So these habits are truly ingrained into who you are. And you're not just somebody who works when life is idealistic. You have to learn to work this business in realistic settings. You want to know why there was a big fall off of some people that decided network marketing wasn't for them after the pandemic? It was because they were like, they wanted an idealistic business instead of a realistic business. Okay? So do not create idealistic goals that are only meant to thrive in idealistic settings versus realistic settings. Okay? Ready? Mistake number 4. Okay? So we have linear optimism, emotion-led, idealistic strategy. Now we're at outcome-driven. Okay? Outcome-driven is, I'm going to give an example of this, and some of you are absolutely going to hate that I'm going to use this example. Actually, we'll get to that. But it's kind of like you're working to an award. You're working to, like, okay, I want to give you an example. We'll just do a rank in your company. Like, you're working to silver unicorn status or the silver diamond elite, whatever that rank is. Okay, so you're putting all these things in and you hit the rank, and the habits drop as soon as you hit the outcome. Versus when you become process driven, the outcomes are a byproduct of your habits, versus you are engineering your habits to get to an outcome, and then they drop once the outcome happens. Okay? When you become process driven, the outcomes are inevitable, and you have to become somebody who finds value in the process, who you are being, right? We too often chase the reward instead of chasing the process. And when you become someone who has deeply embedded the habits and you're more process driven, you don't just hit the rank once and then burn out and spiral and you can never sustain it. You become somebody who holds silver elite unicorn rank, and you keep going, and you can compound on that without burnout. This is what happens with the students in my academy as well, right? And so you find value in the process. Here's what I noticed. When you're outcome driven, you get easily discouraged when the outcomes don't happen quickly enough. The habits are discontinued once the outcome is achieved. Right? And so it's like we burn ourselves out to the outcome, and then we're so exhausted when we get the outcome, we drop the habits, or the habits that we created weren't sustainable. Working 18 hours a day, that's not sustainable, right? It's like, how you have to be able to be somebody who sustains your outcomes, and the only way you do that is when you become process oriented. Okay? Being somebody who's process driven places high value on the habits and the becoming process, who you are becoming in pursuit of the goal. And somebody who is outcome driven places value on the reward and the getting process. Are you somebody who's about the becoming process or the getting process? Let me ask you this, because this is about if you want to become somebody who loves the process, I have to ask you this question. What is your relationship with doing hard things? When was the last time, and I would say take it out of your business. What happens when something breaks in your house? Do you have the patience to fix it? Do you have the patience to solve for it? Like, what is your relationship with doing hard things? So for example, taking it out of my business, like me learning to deadlift and back squat, those were hard things. And I was like, I'm going to learn to become somebody who values this. I'm going to learn to show up, and I like who I become when I do hard things. Or are you somebody like, as soon as it gets hard, I'm out. As soon as it gets too hard for me, I'm on to the next thing. I'm distracted. I'm looking at the next easy, shiny thing. You guys, I can't go 5 minutes online without seeing an ad that promises fast, easy money. And I think it is a crying shame because I believe it is snatching up people who can't do hard things because they just want easy, fast fixes. But inevitably, in online business, there's always hard. There's always hard. I don't care what you pick, but the moment you don't want to do hard is the moment you opt out of what? Growth. You think growth is easy? Growth is hard. Grow 2024 sounds sexy, but really, it's freaking hard. It's messy. It's gritty. Like you better have dirt under your fingernails. If people are like, okay, I grew, I'd be like, show me your calluses, show me the dirt, show me the sweat, show me how you got there. What is your relationship with doing hard things? Because here's the thing, goals are really just to-do lists until you put action behind it. Taking action is hard, guys. Overcoming your stories is hard. It ain't easy. Learning to contend with your own BS every day, learning to contend with your brain that's like, are you sure that's gonna work? Remember last time you hosted a party and nobody showed up and nobody bought? Oh, hey, don't invest too much time into this person because they're just gonna quit and leave, and we really don't want you wasting your time. Oh, are you sure? Like, you haven't had a lot of success in this business, you can't talk about this business opportunity yet. All of those, learning to overcome those things, learning to show up when your brain is screaming at you, not today, isn't there something else we could be doing? This isn't worth it. That's hard. That's hard. Showing up when everything inside of you doesn't want to is hard. That's the hard, friends. The Sisyphus effect, that thankless, frustrating grind until you get to the tipping point, it's hard. I don't want to sugarcoat any of this for you because if any of you are like, yay, it's going to be like, if you're romanticizing growth in 2024, wake up. I'd rather you go in knowing you're going to get your butt kicked, but you're going to find value in that because you're going to love who you become in that process, and your future self is going to thank you for doing the hard. I thank myself every day. I'm like, thank you, Kristen, who did the crazy, hard, scary things 4 years ago when you were a mom and it was single income and you were working 2 jobs and you had 2 toddlers. Thank you. Thank you for doing the hard, crazy things. Every day I go back to my past self. I'm like, you're amazing, right? Are you willing to do that? Last mistake number 5. Overshooting and undershooting your goal. This is very common. So we have 3 zones when it comes to growth. We have our safety zone, our comfort zone. This is where, and so many people work their business from this place. And it's so funny because we love saying like, you know, I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to go outside my comfort zone. Yeah. And then it's like, and then we actually come face to face with the thing that's outside of our comfort zone. And then we're like, no, like, I don't want to, right? So safety goals, they do not stretch you. They do not require you to do uncomfortable things. This is sticking only with what you know. It's sticking with the familiar. So I would say a safety comfort zone is if you've been hanging out on Facebook only for your business and you know that you should be trying things on Instagram, Instagram is outside of your safety zone, right? If you're just hiding and like, here's another one is like people only posting to their customer groups and never talking about their business or their product on their public pages. That's a safety zone. That's a safety zone. Like, oh, I'm just hiding, talking in here. That's the only place I share about my business where I'm like, but what about the people who aren't in that group yet? How are you getting them there? How are you doing that? Right? So, safety zone is also sticking with what's worked before. Some of you have been in this industry a bit, and it's time for you to wake up and realize what worked before might not work now. What got you here isn't going to get you there. That's why tomorrow is all about what's working in 2024. But unless you're willing to venture outside of your safety zone, you're not going to try anything I tell you to do tomorrow. And if you want success, if you want growth, you got to sign up to go outside of your comfort zone. Old strategies is in your comfort zone, right? And then we have our growth zone, which, by the way, your growth zone is typically 20 to 30% just outside of your safety zone, right? It's like, I like to think of it like a little rubber band, and you're just stretching a little outside to where you're uncomfortable, right? And so in the growth zone, it's slightly outside your comfort zone. You're trying new things, you're experimenting, you're willing to fail, it's challenging. It brings up your stories. It brings up your stories. You don't really have to contend with your stories as much in your safety zone because you're sticking with what you know. It feels pretty good, right? But growth zone, you will start to contend with your stories. If you aren't contending with stories, you've been hanging out in your safety zone too long. Or if you believe every story your brain tells you, you're like, oh, must be true. Nobody wants to buy, therefore it must be true. I can't lead anybody, therefore it must be true. That means you're hanging out in your safety zone, right? You discover your limits in your growth zone. You discover your potential, right? But here's the thing. Most people will go right outside their growth zone and accidentally set goals in the zone of paralysis. And maybe you didn't know about this zone. Maybe you're all like, yay, the growth zone, but maybe you didn't know about the zone of paralysis. And the zone of paralysis is actually based on the capacity of what your nervous system can handle. And you might be like, what is this about? So if we were to actually look at this, this is actually all based on goals based around the capacity of your nervous system, meaning your nervous system will often is constantly looking for how to create emotional safety for you, where you never feel at threat, where you never want to go into fight, flight, or freeze, where you never feel triggered. Like, anytime you do something scary is actually creating a chemical response in your body that throws you in some sort of fight, flight, or freeze mechanism. The growth zone it will trigger some form of response in you because you're going to be scared, worried, right? But in the zone of paralysis, it actually becomes an overload on your nervous system, and it actually shuts you down. Where your brain says this is too much, and this is where overwhelm, analysis paralysis, no action happens, overthinking, and the person shuts down, completely shuts down, okay? So really knowing your personal, I'm gonna say, your zone looks different from somebody else's. So and I'm gonna give an example of this, but knowing your zone actually requires a level of self-awareness. Understanding, will this shut me down and have me hiding under a blanket? Like, what's going to stretch me? What is my capacity right now? Okay, so let me give you an example of this, like in a non-business sense. If someone was to be like, I want to get in shape and I want to be healthy, and they haven't been in a gym ever in their life, they've never been in a fitness center, like, notice how many things they would have to overcome. Like, I'm nervous. Where do I find the equipment? How do I walk in? Where do I go? And I would probably just say, okay, your first win is to, like, the comfort zone is sitting on their couch and not leaving their house. So I'm like, okay, what's the growth zone? Growth zone is like, okay, I want you to just put on your gym clothes, drive to the parking lot, walk into the front desk and ask for a workout schedule and leave. That's all you need to do, right? That might actually be a growth zone. They're afraid, they're nervous, they just need to walk in the door and walk out and realize they didn't die. A zone of paralysis would be like, go in there and do a workout class. They would freak out and be like, I can't do that. I'm freaking out. It's like, how do I secure a win that matches what my capacity is? So let me give you an example in business. So safety zone for you might mean making a post about products in your customer group only. It's the only place you ever talk about your products. Nobody on your Facebook even knows that you have a product to sell. Nobody even knows that you're in a business. Nobody knows that you do that. But you talk in your customer groups, right? But growth zone would be making a post about the business on your personal Facebook page. Some of you, or even worse, like, I'm just gonna answer this for everybody. If you have a Facebook business page, stop posting on that, because the only people that are seeing that are people that follow that page. And that's not all of your friends. Whereas on your personal profile, all of your friends see that, or the people that you engage with. So growth zone would be making a post about the business on your personal Facebook page. Some of you are like, oh, that's me, it's me. Freeze zone would be making a dancing reel. You're like, I'm used to just hiding in my customer group, but I was like, go make a dancing reel. You'd hide, you would do nothing, and you'd go right back to your safety zone. So know where you are. But here's the thing I'm going to tell you, okay? If it doesn't challenge you, it sure as heck won't change you. You said, I want to grow next year, which really means I want to change my outcomes next year. If you want to change your outcomes, you have to be willing to be challenged, which means feeling that dysregulated feeling in your body, being willing to feel the sweat and the hives and wanting to hide, just being willing to feel that and say, yep, and I'm still going to take the action. Friends, growth requires change. And what you don't change, you are choosing. What you don't change, you are choosing. So here's this. Tomorrow we're going to be talking a lot about social media strategy. I'm going to be giving you very tactical things on how to, so that you're never out of people to talk to, because a lot of people are like, okay, I've invited my friends and my family, I talk on my posts, but I don't know who else to talk to. I don't know how to expand into this cold market. How do I know who my warm market is, my hot market? Where do I talk to people? What happens when I'm out of people to talk to? We're going to cover that tomorrow. But listen, if you aren't willing to change how you do your business, then you have to know you are choosing whatever outcome you get from that. And if that means not making more money online, if that means you have to pick up another job, if that means you stay in a job that you're unhappy with, or you barely make enough to cover your products, I mean, hey, if that's your goal, great. But I'm assuming you want more growth, right? And so you have to look at, if I don't change this, then I'm choosing to keep these results. And if that's what you want, if you're choosing to keep your results, great. But it would make no sense that you would come to an event called Grow and also choose to stay where you are. Okay? So here's the thing. I want you to join us back here tomorrow at noon Central Time. I'm going to be covering social media strategy in 2024, how to get results in 60 minutes a day or less. I'm going to be teaching the endless pipelines formula, so that endless leads pipeline formula, so that you're never out of people to talk to. And how, I'm so excited about this, how to talk about the business in today's economic climate. When you could know how to talk about this business, you're going to attract high quality people. And I'm going to change the way you see this business, because I'm going to be presenting in a way you have never heard before. And I'm going to truly teach you how to view this business model where you can't help but talk to everybody about it. And I will tell you, there are people that joined my Social Selling Academy that weren't in network marketing. They're like, well, I want to learn sales and marketing and copy. And then they ended up joining network marketing because they're like, well, how you explain this model, why would I not? Okay, friends? So I want you to take a screenshot. Oh, registration also closes tonight. So be sure, if you're like, dude, I need to get my friends here. I need to get my whole team here. I got to get my company here. You get them, buy the ticket, kristenboss.com/grow. Take a screenshot of this, tag me on Instagram. Grow Day 1 is completed, friends. It was a blast serving you today. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Be sure to look for the post after this for the giveaway. There's going to be a prompt. Look in the group. It's going to be open for an hour, and we will see you right back here tomorrow. Thanks, guys.